I know I'm young, but when it comes to Mario Kart 8, I'm more experienced than most of you. I was the only child in middle school to own a Wii U, which caused three things to happen to me. 1. Relentless persecution from my peers, even though the only games they had to play in 2014 were their ill-gotten copies of Grand Theft Auto 5. 2. A psychological rewiring of my brain to defend Nintendo against those who would criticize me and my love for them, which continues to this very day. 3rd, I had a lot of free time to play Mario Kart 8, which I poured way too much time into. But that's what not listening to your friends, enemies, parents, EB Games employees, and common sense will get you. I've played this game longer than most, unlocking every car part across both versions, and I can confidently say that this is the best racing game of all time, and also that I know what this game's biggest problems are. Now, this isn't going to be a wish list of tracks and characters for Mario Kart 9, and I'm definitely not going to harp on about Nintendo Kart because that's not a good idea, but we can save that for another day. Instead, I'm going to break down new mechanics, progression systems, and modes I'd love to see in MK9. First off, we need a new practical item. The latest Mario Kart items have been niche for a while, and that's fair. They basically have already covered all their bases. Messing with the formula too much could break the balance of power between the items. I have some ideas for a new item, and the cool thing about it is that it can take on multiple forms. My idea is to have some sort of slick item that creates a slippery area on the track that doesn't crash your car, but makes it speed up. Its most effective feature would be breaking the drift of any vehicle that passes over it, meaning it could be used around corners or ledges to send racers into a rage. Since you lose the majority of your control while drifting, this should make it a more dangerous item than your standard banana, and on tracks like Neo Bowser City and SNES Rainbow Road, this could be a nightmare. There are two forms this item could take, the Ice Flower or Elephant Apple. With the Ice Flower, it has a more easily spottable ice puddle, and with the Elephant Apple, it uses shiny water, which might make it too hard to see on darker tracks. I ultimately lean towards the Ice Flower, but I know that the Elephant Apple is somehow making it into MK9. It's probably just going to replace the Piranha Plant, but I guess we'll see. Next up, we desperately need to fix the progression system in these games, and it's a sad truth that not all karts were created equal, and that there are builds that you need to stand a chance in higher tiers of play, so randomization as an unlock method is grueling. I remember playing Deluxe online and getting creamed by players who had only played the Switch version because they had better karts than me that I hadn't unlocked. It was infuriating. So how do we fix this? With an in-game shop. I'm gonna stop you right there. We both know that Nintendo would sooner have a full frontal sex scene in Animal Crossing than add microtransactions to a console game. See, that's that psychological rewiring at work. So this store is only for gold coins, and it has every vehicle part available as well as a random loot box for players who just don't care. This lets the competitive players optimize their builds early without being at the whims of RNGesus. You could even throw in some of the alternate costumes from Tour to let us customize our races. Also, having a tangible screen showing how much we don't have would be helpful, as not knowing how many parts I still had to go was killing me during my grind. Finally, we need a new mode. It's with a heavy heart that I say that Battle Mode is pretty much dead. In the Wii U version, they didn't even make the pretense of trying, and despite the added effort they put in for Deluxe, in the age of online multiplayer, Battle Mode just can't be what it once was. Racing has always been at the core of Mario Kart, but how can you add another racing mode to a game that already has some of the best racing of all time? This is where Mario Kart needs to take some lessons from its biggest competitors and introduce a track builder. The social media content alone will keep the game alive for another decade until Mario Kart 10. We've all seen what GTA fans have done with building tools to create insane and wildly inventive ideas for racetracks, so imagine that with Mario Kart. Nintendo already has the infrastructure all sorted out thanks to the Mario Maker games, and those games still have huge content creators playing them. So could you even imagine the explosion on social media if Nintendo did that with one of their best-selling games. Instead of seeing GTA and Minecraft parkour playing in the top half of a TikTok, what if it was an entirely original Mario Kart track that was being used to trick you into watching unengaging content because the person talking didn't have anything interesting to say? Remember how for a month the audience was obsessed with the creative genius displayed with the Ultra Hand in Tears of the Kingdom? Imagine if you could take wild ideas like that and make them instantly playable to anyone who comes across them. So while I do have a list of features I'd love to see in MK9, a track builder is at the top of my list. While I'm sure we're only a few more years away from the most anticipated racing game of all time, I can only hope it lives up to expectations. If you're interested in seeing some more Mario content of mine, here's a video talking about how the elephant apple works in Mario Wonder, and I'll see you in another 2 days.